Democrats have launched a new attack ad, a video of a father whose daughter was seriously abused, becomes pregnant, and the doctor says, we'll go to prison if we do anything about it. And then a Republican congressman appears behind him and says, I'm watching you. I love this. And they have the hashtag MAGA is watching you. Okay. Well, if in this election, abortion is going to be a big issue, I want to break down some facts as it pertains to Ohio. I know the ad is talking about Pennsylvania and Ohio. They're targeting swing states, important Rust Belt states. Let me play for you this video, and you can watch it for yourself. Hashtag MAGA is watching you. Okay. And then we'll break down the current stats on abortion so you can better understand the reality of what the proposals are. Here we go.
I can't believe this. My daughter was raped.
Let's start it over. Sorry.
I can't believe this. My daughter was raped. And you're not going to do anything?
I'm sorry. They'll put us all in prison if we do the procedure.
He's right. I'm your Republican congressman. We've banned abortion. No exceptions.
She's just 12 years old. I'm not letting you destroy her life.
I won the last election, so it's my decision. I'm just going to watch your daughter and make sure she doesn't do anything illegal.
Oh, man, this is just so laughably bad. But hey, man, Democrats thrive on straw man arguments and manipulation in order to get elected. Don't get me wrong, uniparty Republicans, very much the same. But in this instance, we're talking about literal, logical arguments that need to be had on the issue of abortion as it pertains to these states, especially with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. So let's stress this again. First, I just want to say this. This ad, let me show you what the guy says. He says, the November 7th elections in PA and Ohio are the next battleground for reproductive rights. What you're about to see is happening to little girls and women all over our country. Watch the sequel to Republicans in Your Bedroom. Republicans watching your daughter. Okay, sure. I hope this is a parody, but I don't think it is because they're actually fundraising for Act Blue. But sure. Okay. Obviously, a 12-year-old being raped is a nightmare scenario. And I believe that this is a crime against humanity to target children in this way, and I've long talked about it. I am actually pro-choice as it pertains to many issues, but I do not agree with the modern left. It is not fair to say that Democrats are pro-choice. They are not. They're pro-abortion. I am not pro-abortion. I think abortion is wrong. However, the issue for me, we have to balance the rights of the individual with the rights of the child in womb. And that's a very difficult, if not impossible, moral task. Because the pro-life position is the innocent child did nothing wrong and should not be killed. And this really does infuriate me because it ignores the rights of the other individual, which is the individual who was raped. You cannot force a person onto another person and then say, now you're legally obligated for this person. I reject that. There's a story about a man. A woman got pregnant, gave birth, and said this man was the father. He wasn't. They ordered him to pay child support. He got a DNA test, said, I'm not the dad. And they said, too bad. And it's not just one story. I reject the idea that the government can force you to give up your body to someone else. Now, hold on there a minute, my friends. If an adult woman chooses, because minors can't consent, right? So if an adult woman chooses to engage in relations, inviting a child into her womb and becomes pregnant, now there is a question of whether or not abortion should be, would be violating her rights. I don't think it's acceptable to agree to the circumstances where someone becomes dependent upon you and then to immediately cast them out to their death. However, I find myself, for the most part, there's a reasonable approach to being against abortion, but allowing for it in certain circumstances. I don't like the idea of government control over this to a certain degree, but it's probably why I'd be more in the area where Trump is, which is a compromise, allowing it up to a certain amount of time. But if the baby is viable, meaning it can survive on its own, you can't abort it. That's my personal opinion, and I don't think I'm right morally. I don't know how to answer these questions, but let's take a look at the facts. First, states with abortion bans and restrictions with exceptions for health. So health, Ohio, the state's 6-week abortion ban with health exception is blocked by a court order. So it's blocked by a court order, meaning, I don't know if this ad even is totally relevant. Life exception. They say this, blocked by a court order. Okay, rape and incest, as per the commercial. They say the state's 6-week abortion ban is blocked by a court order. It does not contain an exception for rape or incest. And I take issue with that. Now, first, there is no conservative pro-life position allowing for an exception for rape or incest. If the conservative position is you can't kill the baby, then it doesn't matter how the baby was conceived. The baby is a life and is guaranteed rights to life. So my argument still ultimately falls on the you can't force a human being to provide their body to another human being. Simply put, sorry. I will not accept, I cannot morally accept the government coming to a woman, especially a child, and saying you have no choice. There should be an exception. Even though I don't blame the innocent child, I am not, the woman is also innocent, and you cannot force them to provide their body to someone else just because both are innocent. Sorry, I can't do it. Anyway, I don't want to get, comment below. I know it's a difficult issue, but let's talk about the ad and why it is, well, I won't say too much. I'll save it, but let's talk about it. Here we go. Total number of forcible rape cases reported in the United States in 2020 by state. Ohio, 2020, had 5,052 rapes. Horrible. It's absolutely disgusting. And I hope we bring all of those people to justice. And I wish those overwhelmingly women, not all women, I think it's going to be like 80% to 90% female. Some men there. So let's just start with the percentage of men that are raped. I don't think this is only saying women, right? It's just saying rape in general. So this is likely going to include, I think we have to include that some men. Here we go. They say the revised UCR definition of rape is penetration, no matter how slight, of the orifices with any part of the body or object, or oral penetration of another person without the consent of the victim. Attempts or assaults to commit are also included. Interesting. So this also includes attempts. Really? Okay, well, let's just say for the sake of argument, 5,000 is the number. We want to remove a little bit because some may be men who are also, because it does include the potential for males to be, although it is substantially more rare. So let's just say, I don't know, 10%. Maybe it's not good, 4,500. Let's remove some of the attempts, and let's just say outright about 5,000 in Ohio specifically. Here's the next bit of data we have. Rape-related pregnancy, estimates and descriptive characteristics from a national sample of women. The results of this study, this is PubMed, the NIH.gov. They say the national rape-related pregnancy rate is 5% per rape among victims. That is to say, 5% of victims do become pregnant based on what they know. Okay. They say I believe it's in the United States, 32,000 pregnancies result from rape each year. It's horrible. Now, let's take this in consideration. And here's the abortion reporting for Ohio in 2021. They say the vast majority of Ohio abortions were reported to have been performed on resident women, with 5% were obtained by non-residents. The number, I believe, what do they have? In 2021, there were 21,813 abortions in Ohio. Okay, this would mean that if we go by the 4,000 number, you know what? Let's not even do it. Let's say the full 5,000. Let's include men too. Let's just say let's overestimate. Let's say 10% of women don't report. Let's increase it. Let's say 6,000. You go by that number and you go by the national level of pregnancies, and we're dealing with, what do we have? 5%. So we're looking at 300 women who had become pregnant due to a rape. Now, how many of those women will seek an abortion? It's an interesting question. Here's another important statistic. 9% of Ohio abortions were performed on girls ages 19 and younger, including 2% on girls under the age of 18. Whoa. Hold on there a minute. So you're saying when you say 9%, 19 and younger, sounds like you're talking about minors. You're not. They're saying 18 and 19-year-olds account for 7%, and under 18 accounts for 2% of their abortions. Okay, here we go. 2% of abortions are under the age of 18. How many rapes, how many pregnancies are the product of rape? 5%. So of the 6,000, we overestimate rapes in Ohio, 300 result in pregnancy. 2% of those will be under the age of 18. The number? 6. 6. Okay. I don't know why Republicans are willing to extend this law over 6. You see, here's the issue. A 12-year-old girl, I'm sorry, I don't agree with the staunch pro-lifers on this one. A 12-year-old girl cannot physically, in a healthy way, carry this baby. This is insane. And if there are only 6 instances of this, these are extreme circumstances. It should not be the basis of a political ad by Democrats. But why would Republicans even give it up to them? Republicans could come out and outright say, we are going to allow an exception, especially this. How about this, Republicans? If you are under the age of 18, there's more leeway because it's a compromise. You don't have to say that you are sacrificing your morals. You can say to maximize life, we have to accept certain limitations. It is not an easy question. That's my position. Donald Trump said there's got to be a compromise. And there are many of these absolutists who are like, no, pro-life or nothing. If that was the case, Trump would have lost if people didn't support him. Trump got 3 Supreme Court justices. They overturned Roe v. Wade. How many babies have been saved in your pro-life estimate? Now, I know it's a horrible thing to say that you would sacrifice these 6 lives. But me, this is the challenge of utilitarian versus deontological thinking. I don't have the answers. It would require the state to take an immoral action against a 12-year-old girl who was raped and to take an immoral action in terminating the life. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer. And that's the problem with this deontological morality of do not commit these immoral actions against individuals. There are 2 individuals in question. Who suffers the immoral action? The young girl? I know only 6 out of all the cases. If we're doing the math, I know it's loose math. But a single individual, the government cannot effectively pin down, legally I'm saying, and say, you must carry this baby to term. Despite the fact you do not choose it, your body can't handle it, and it could cause serious harm to you. That's nuts. The state would also have to sanction the termination of that life, an immoral action against an innocent human life. There is no simple answer here. And that's why I can only defer to, in certain circumstances, we must figure out how we do the best we can. And I do not think subjecting a 12-year-old to carrying a forced pregnancy, I'm talking about the rape, not the leftist term where they're like forced birth. What you need to understand is the left is using this extreme rarity to try and strike at the fact that 21,000 of these abortions take place and 90+% are elective, meaning abortion as contraception. I don't think you can invite someone into your house and then once they settle in, you kick them out and make them homeless. Right? I'll put it this way. Someone has a house and they say, no, get rid of your house. Just come live with me. You'll be fine. And so they do. And then you say, okay, now get out. And like, wait, but I have nowhere to go. Too bad. Yeah, that's not acceptable. We have laws saying you can't evict people like that. And so in this instance, if a woman chooses to engage in relations that result in pregnancy, you made the choice. You said, please be in me, baby. Or you could take that another way. I'll simplify this dramatically. The ad I find laughable. It's just so silly and pathetic. But why should Republicans open the door to this on some absolutist position? It is not simple. There are immoral actions being taken. Now, you can certainly say ending a life is more immoral than forcing the child to carry this. And very few children will have to do this. It's rare. But now you're talking about utilitarian thinking where you believe the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. It is just not so simple. So I can certainly say the Democrats' position is an absurdity, and they're arguing the rarities. But I'm not going to pretend to have all the answers, other than perhaps I can present to you some information, and you can make up your mind. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all then.